Englantilainen Gillian Higgins kävi Ypäjällä opettamassa sekä opiskelijoita että yleisöä. Mukana joukossa oli erityisesti ratsastusterapeutteja ja eläinfysioterapeutteja. Gillianin tapa opettaa asia on uudenlainen. Hän näyttää hevosen sisältä ulospäin, inside out. Okay. So Gillian, you have been here in Ypäjä telling people about the horse's skeleton, muscles,
Yes.
and about how the horse moves. But you do it in a different way. Why?
Well, when I first started working as a sports and remedial therapist, working with my clients in England, I realised that many people could benefit from a better understanding of how horses work. I was getting the same questions like, well, why is my horse sore in this area? Not understanding how they worked. So I started off initially just doing small workshops for my clients, indicating with a little bit of paint. And then the method, the ideas grew. And now, as you saw yesterday, I've painted the whole of the skeleton and the muscles on the side of the horse. And for me, it's making anatomy and biomechanics interesting and fascinating. Anatomy, biomechanics can be a bit of a difficult or a dry subject, but I think in this way it just makes it so accessible for so many people. You look at a horse with the skeleton moving and you can really imagine what's happening on the underside of, inside its body, underneath the skin. So it makes it a way easy to understand, interesting, and people can really relate to it.
And yesterday you taught here in Ypäjä. Where else do you go?
Well, since I've started Horses Inside Out, it's really grown, which is fantastic. I've been to many places with it now. I've been to South America, Brazil, South Africa, I've been to Qatar, many places in Europe and America. So I'm very, very lucky that I've been to travel to many different places doing it. But it's always fascinating for me to meet new people, to see different horses. Every time I paint a horse up, watch it move, there's new things to learn about movement and about horses.
And your book has been translated to several languages.
Yes.
How many?
I think it's 11. Oh, it could be 14, but I'm not sure. I think it's 11, the first book. And then the second book, Horse Anatomy for Performance, I think also is being published into Finnish maybe next year. So that's also very exciting.
And what would you say to riders and horse owners? What are the most important things they should learn?
Yes, absolutely. That's a good question, because I always say at the beginning of my lectures, learning about anatomy is not about understanding the names or learning just the names of the bones and the muscles. But for me, it's important that riders, horse owners, managers, trainers learn more about how those muscles and bones work together. So learn about the movement, learn exactly in which ways the skeleton, the bones, the joints can move. Because I say, if you don't use it, you lose it, thinking about joint health. So if we want to work and train our horses, it's really important that we understand the range of movements available so that we can encourage the horses to use them. And secondly, for me, relationships are really important. We can't move one part of the horse's body without having an effect on the rest of the body. For example, you move the head and neck in a certain way and it'll affect the spine, it'll affect the back, it'll affect his movement. You move the positioning of the forelimbs or the positioning of the hind limbs and it affects the back. And this is really useful information for us. All these relationships, biomechanical relationships, mechanical, but also psychological relationships are fascinating to look at, and I think that's really useful because again we can use that in our training. There's so much that I think we can learn and use from understanding more about how the horse works, and I think all of these things can help us to improve the performance with our horses, help to reduce the risk of injury, and really have a better relationship with our horses, and hopefully that they have a longer career, happy career.
He moves his head and neck by a small amount. If you move his head and neck by a long way, he can affect his centre of mass by a small amount. And you'll often see horses using their heads and necks dramatically if they get into a sticky situation, if they're not in the right place, if they get too close, if they get too far away, and they have to, if they make an awkward jump or a difficult jump. As he comes into the fence, I'd like you to notice, does he lift his head and neck up and back to help shift his weight back in preparation for jumping? As he comes down towards landing, does he lift his head and neck up and back to help again? Good boy, lovely, well done, Hannah. Thank you very much.
I've really enjoyed my trip here to Ypäjän, and I've been so impressed. Everyone that I've met has been so friendly and so welcoming, and I've been really, really impressed with all the students here and all the staff who've just been so helpful in helping with the painting, and so committed and so evidently committed to getting up early. It takes a long time to paint the horses, and yesterday we were up at 6 o'clock to be painting, and they were all there helping, which was absolutely fantastic, and I've really enjoyed my time here.